So I wanted to do a few more problems on my practice test for the TSI. Again, you guys, I took a lot of time making this practice test because I want you guys to be able to have multiple opportunities to practice the same skill. So we're going to practice numbers 10 through 12 on my TSI practice test. So 10 says cycling at an average rate. Okay, so we're talking about rates of 10 kilometers an hour. How many minutes would it take Veronica to cycle 5 kilometers? So this is going to be a proportion. And remember, the first fraction in the proportion is going to be the rate. So it says 10 kilometers in 1 hour. Okay, and then it says the second fraction is going to be the information they want us to find. So it's going to be 5 kilometers in how many minutes? But if you look at this, kilometers is on top, minutes is on the bottom, kilometers is on the top, hours are on the bottom. So because they're looking up for how many minutes, we have to make sure that this and this are both in minutes. So we can easily put this into minutes by saying 10 kilometers in 60 minutes, because 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So now we have a proportion where there's minutes on the bottom and kilometers on the top. So we can go ahead and solve it now. So 10 kilometers to 5 kilometers. It goes from a large number to a small number. So what did I do to go from 10 to 5? I divided it by 2. So if I divide the top by 2, I also have to divide the bottom by 2. So 60 divided by 2 would be 30 minutes. So our answer would be 30 minutes. Now, I want to show you guys how we can also solve this by the butterfly method. So I know that when I'm tutoring students, some students automatically like to do whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. And if that works for you and it's very simple for you, then go ahead and do that. But then I have some students that I tutor and immediately they say, oh, Miss Amber, the butterfly method. So if you like the butterfly method, but you need more practice with the butterfly method, this is for you. So again, 10 kilometers over 60 minutes. Remember, that was just 1 hour that we converted to 60 minutes. And that's going to be equal to 5 kilometers over X amount of minutes. So when we want to solve this using the butterfly method, we cross multiply. So what we do is we would cross multiply 60 times 5. So 60 times 5. And 60 times 5 is 300. And then we cross multiply 10 times x. 10 times x is just 10x. So it'd be 300 equals 10x. Now the reason it's called butterfly is because it's supposed to look like a butterfly. Anyways. Okay, so 300 is equal to 10x. How do we solve for x? Well, as a reminder, anytime you're trying to solve for x, you're trying to get the x by itself. Right now, the x is not by itself. Why? Because the 10 is next to it. The reason why the 10 is next to it is because they're being multiplied against each other. So when you want to get rid of that 10, you have to do the opposite of what's happening, which is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 10. Now, if you want to know how come I divided both sides by 10 and not by 300, it's because we're trying to get rid of the 10. The 10 is a number that is causing the x to not be by itself. So that's the number that we divide by. So we're going to divide both sides by 10. The 10s are going to cancel out and you're going to be left with x. And 300 divided by 10 is going to be equal to 30. We were trying to figure out the missing amount of minutes. So it's going to be 30 minutes and our answer is going to be D. So we saw how to do this problem 2 ways. What happens to the top happens to the bottom. And then we also saw how to solve it with cross multiplication or the butterfly method. So we did that first problem. Well done. Now what we're going to do is we have 2 more opportunities to do very similar problems and practice those skills that we just learned. So let's go ahead and get started. Question number 11. Walking an average rate of 12 kilometers an hour. So again, we're talking about rate. It's going to be a proportion. So it's 12 kilometers on top. An hour means every hour. How many minutes would it take to walk 4 kilometers? So because I know they're talking about minutes now, instead of 12 kilometers over 1 hour, I'm just going to write 12 kilometers over 60 minutes because there's 60 minutes in an hour. And then the second proportion, so we've changed that fraction. And then the second fraction is going to be how many minutes would it take to walk 4 kilometers? So 4 kilometers goes on the top and then X amount of minutes. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and solve it the first way by whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. So to get from a larger number 12 to 4, you're dividing and you divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So if you divide the top by 3, you also divide the bottom by 3. So 60 divided by 3 is 20. So 20 minutes would be the answer. Let's go ahead and also do the butterfly method. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and let's do that again. 12 kilometers an hour, 12 kilometers in 1 hour or in 60 minutes is equal to 4 kilometers in X amount of minutes. So now we're going to do the butterfly method by cross multiplying. We're going to do 60 times 4, and that's equal to 240. And then we're going to do 12 times x, which is equal to 12x. We're going to divide both sides by 12 because that's the number that's causing the x to not be by itself. The 12s are going to cancel each other out, and you're going to be left with x is equal to 240 divided by 12, which is equal to 20. So our answer is going to be B, 20 minutes. Okay, let's go ahead and practice the skill one more time. A little less explanation each time. Okay, so 40 meters in an hour. 40 meters in an hour. How many minutes would it take her to run 20 meters? So we're converting an hour to minutes. We already know that. So instead of writing 40 meters over 1 hour, I'm going to write 40 meters over 60 minutes. And I'm going to set that equal to how many minutes would it take Nicole to run 20 meters? So 20 meters is going to be on top. And then minutes is going to be on the bottom. And there's 2 ways to solve it. So whatever we do to the top, we do to the bottom. We're going to solve it that way first. So 40 divided by 2 is equal to 20. So 60 divided by 2 is equal to 30. So the answer would be 30 minutes. And now we're going to solve it through the butterfly method. So the butterfly method is going to be 40 meters in 60 minutes is equal to 20 meters in X minutes. And we're going to cross multiply. So we're going to do 60 times 20. And then we're also going to do 40 times X. So 40X. And then this is going to be 6 times 2 is 12, 0, 0. Divide that by 40, divide that by 40. And so 1200 divided by 40 is 30. So it'll be 30 minutes, and our answer would be B. So again, the purpose of my practice test is that you guys not only get to practice the skill one time, but you can practice the skill over and over again. Not every single question has multiple versions of it, but I tried to give you as many as possible, especially on the problems that I know we need to practice more and more of. So 10 through 12, they're the exact same setup where you have to convert hours to minutes, and then you have to set up a proportion. Then you can solve it from doing the same on the top and the same on the bottom, or through the butterfly method. But I did this several times because by that time you do the third problem, you guys are going to be experts in it. There's going to be no question as to how to do it. So when you go to your test, guess what's going to happen when you get a problem like this? You're going to instantly know what to do. So I'm very proud of you guys. Great job for watching my videos, for studying as much as you guys have been doing. And I love that you guys come back and say thank you and tell me that you guys have been passing your tests. I'm so proud of you. If you want to purchase this practice test, the link is going to be in the description for this video. And as always, happy studying, you guys. See you soon.